Hi everyone, Stepan here, training game with the black pieces. Let's win some games. I'm playing Lovech, d4, d5. Let's see what happens. The last few games have been awful. I want to get a winning streak going if I can. Let's play the Slav. Yeah, the last few games I kept missing stuff. I'm preparing for a tournament, so this isn't the ideal time format, but I'm also playing 90 plus 30 games against my friends in real life. So those are more useful, and those have been going well. I was actually planning to show you some of those, but I haven't had time to analyze them all. Okay, knight c3, knight f6. I'm gonna try to play quickly, although not as quickly as I played in yesterday's game, because yesterday I missed a win in the endgame. A pretty simple win. My head hurt after the game. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about yesterday's game. Let's focus on this one. There are many moves possible here, although e3 and knight f3 are the most common ones. Okay, this is slightly odd. So if I take on c, I know that you can take on c4 when they play knight f3. So takes on c4, e4, b5. If e5, then knight d5. Am I in trouble along the diagonal? Because if I go h6, they can just take and... Well, h6... takes, e takes. That's actually fine. Although, what do I do on queen b3? How do I defend the pawn? Do I take with the g pawn? I mean, I could just go e6 and play a sort of normal position, but I really don't want to allow their bishop outside of the pawn chain. This is a confusing move order. I don't think I've encountered it before. I'm very tempted to take on c4. I have a feeling that has to be correct. dc4, e4, b5. If e5, knight d5. dc4, e3, b5. If queen f3, they're threatening to take on b5 and take the rook, and if I go bishop b7, they still take the bishop. So I'm kind of worried about dc, e3, b5, queen f3. What do I do there? Well, I could go knight d5. I could also go bishop g4. I think taking is correct. Okay, I'm gonna take and see what happens. I mean, since this is a training game, I can afford to play slightly risky. If I had this position in a tournament game, I would probably spend half an hour here trying to figure out all the lines, but I simply don't have enough time for that here. Okay, e3, b5. If queen f3, what do I do? I could go queen b6. I could go a6. I could go knight d5. Queen b6 seems okay. Defends everything. a4, a6 seems fine. Queen a5 may be a way to defend. Knight d5 gets rid of the knight on c3. I know the position with bishop g5 when they play knight f3 on move 2. I don't know it with knight c3. Perhaps I can just get away with bishop g4. So queen f3, bishop g4. If queen g3, I have queen d6. Okay, a4. If a6 takes, and queen f3 wins the rook, so b4 seems to be the only way to continue, unless queen b6 works. So queen b6, I'm not too concerned about a5. If takes, I take, and on queen f3 I have bishop b7. Queen b6, queen f3, bishop b7 is okay. Queen b6, a b5, c b5 is okay. Queen b6, bishop e2, bishop b7 is okay. Okay, I'm playing queen b6. I don't see what's wrong with it. If there's something wrong with it, we're gonna learn. b4 was also tempting, but I think it's better to develop the queen to safeguard b7. Because on b4, I lose my c4 pawn. I mean, I'd have to go bishop e6, which isn't really something I want to do. I want to go e6 followed by bishop b4. And if you take the c4 pawn, well, you should hold on to it because you gave away the center. If you don't hold on to it, why do you give away the center? This is very thematic in many semi-Slav positions and Slav positions, where you grab the c4 pawn, and if you don't know the theory, you hope for the best, basically. So queen b6, the idea behind queen b6 is if ab, cb, queen f3, then I have bishop b7. If I'd played a6, then ab, cb, queen f3 just wins on the spot. Just picks up the rook in the corner, or the knight, or the bishop. I can choose which piece to give away, but I give away one of them. Now, if I'm given another move, let's say he plays passively with bishop e2. Not that that's passive, it's okay, but it doesn't do anything very concrete. And I'm gonna go e6 or bishop b7. I kind of prefer e6 because I would love to play bishop b4 and just get rid of all the threats. If you play bishop b4, then the knight's pinned and there's no pressure on b5. On second thought, he may be able... Wow! Okay, so e takes, a, b, c, b, knight d5, queen c6, queen f3, bishop b7. I don't see why this would work. It seems awfully strange to allow my bishop out for no reason. I don't think bishop f6 was a good move. My next move would have been e6, and in order to play bishop b4, now he just sped up bishop b4. Now on queen f3, I may well be able to go bishop b4 immediately, and on ab, queen b. If takes on b5, then cb5, queen f3, there's bishop b7, knight d5, there's queen c6. Knight d5, there's queen c6, and on queen f3, there's bishop b7. So a, b, c, b, knight d5, queen c6, if e4, am I missing something? I don't think I am. So knight d5, queen c6, queen f3, bishop b7. Anything else, I go bishop b4. I don't think he can get onto the diagonal and check my king. I don't think knight b5 works. Knight b5, queen b5. There's queen a4, but I take it. There's bishop c4, but I take it. Knight b5, queen b5, bishop c4, queen c4, rook c1. No, there's queen b4 check. He doesn't win my bishop on c8. And there's no queen f3 after. Okay. Now I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Do I go bishop b7 or bishop b4? I kind of want to go bishop b4 to finally pin the knight. Bishop b4, bishop f3, queen b7. Sorry. Bishop b4, bishop f3, bishop b7, knight d5. Oh, where do I move my queen? There's no knight d5, the knight's pinned. Okay, I'm going bishop b4. So bishop f3, bishop b7, there's no knight d5. If he takes, I take with the queen. If he doesn't play bishop f3, then I just castle, and I'm up a pawn. Yeah, I think I'm just up a pawn. I think his gambit did not work. And I think there is compensation for the c4 pawn, but not with how he played it. I think bishop takes f6 was a huge blunder. I don't think I'm missing anything. So bishop b7, queen b7. There's no queen f3, there's no knight d5. The knight's pinned. There's no knight e2 even because I just take. There's no b3 because I take the knight. d5 allows me to castle. e4 allows me to castle. Knight h3. So he wants to castle and go knight d5. So I'm gonna castle and then take on f3 and go knight d7. So what could be wrong with that? Okay, castles, finally. Because now when I move my knight, my rook's defended. If bishop f3, queen f3, knight d7, the rook is protected. Okay, do I take on c3? I feel like I should. Because I don't want to allow knight d5. He got rid of his dark squared bishop anyway, so I feel I should just snap this knight off, and I'm gonna. I don't want to deal with knight d5. The only question is, do I go knight c6 or do I go knight d7? Knight d7, I have ideas of playing knight f8, knight g6. So that seems sensible. For now, I feel like preventing e4 is a good idea. But there's also d5. So maybe I take first. Take on f3 first. If rook e8, then d5. My queen gets the c5 square and my knight gets c5 and e5. Yeah, okay, I'm going rook e8. Rook e8, bishop b7, queen b7, rook e8. I don't see any other threats. Knight f4. Okay, I'm going rook e8. I'm playing against e4. And I'm also giving my knight c5 and e5 in case d5 is played. And if d5 isn't played, my knight has f8, g6, fighting against the weird knight on h3. And of course, a5 is the move I would like to play once I've developed. So once I move my knight out, I'm playing a5, followed by b4. And my plan is to queen my c-pawn. Okay. Wants to play knight d5. I can understand that. So I'm gonna go knight d7, and on knight d5 I'm gonna take it. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Knight d7, if knight d5, I take. d5 seems like a bad move for him. I don't think he should ever play d5. Because if my knight gets to c5, it has access to b3 and d3. Okay, this is the first sort of nothing move that allows me some time to think. He could be setting up queen e2 and queen takes c4, but for the moment it doesn't work because my pawn is on a7. If I play a5, it will work. I really would like my knight on b6. How about this? Bishop e4 followed by queen c6. Bishop e4, if that's taken, then rook e4. No, that's too unsafe. What about a6? Defending the pawn so that my queen is free to move. a5 should be correct. a5 should be correct, followed by b4. Okay, I'm just going a5. I'm not going to waste time. Let's queen the pawn. I played a tournament game in the European Amateur Championship 2 years ago, and I should have played a5 on every turn in a very similar position to this, where I was up a c4 pawn with the same pawn structure, and I kept delaying it. Ended up winning the game in the end, eventually playing a5, but a5 was always correct for like 20 moves, and I was too afraid to weaken my structure. Now I'm just threatening b4. No messing about. b4, create a passed pawn and win the game. Okay, he's threatening queen takes c4. So let's drag the queen away with bishop takes, or play rook c8. Rook ec8, followed by b4, seems okay. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, b4, knight d5, queen c6. There's knight e7 winning my queen. Okay. Okay, for the moment my queen is defended, but he's threatening to take on b7 and then take on c4. So I'm gonna play rook c8. Although if I play rook c8, then bishop b7, queen b7, knight d5 threatens knight e7. So let's go rook ac8, rook ac8, and everything's defended. Now I'm ready to go b4, and I'm also supporting my c pawn after I play b4. Okay, can we go b4 now? b4 takes, takes, he has to take. Rook fb1, b3 seems to work. So I'm going b4. I'm not wasting any more time. He doesn't want to take on b7 because my queen defends the d5 square and he doesn't have knight d5. I'm up 2 minutes on the clock. That's good. Let's not mess this up like I did in the last 3 games. I had good positions and then I messed them up. 2 connected pass pawns. He needs to set up a blockade, and it has to be a dark squared blockade. So now he needs to put his queen on c3 in order to blockade. But then f3 is loose. I actually could go bishop c6 now, with the idea of bishop a4 followed by c3, just queening. Also c3 could work immediately. Rook b3, c2, queen c2, rook c2, rook b6, knight b6. Yeah, that could work. c3 could work straight away. He gave me two connected pass pawns. This is the dream position you get in all accepted Queen's Gambit accepted types of positions where you take on c4. Okay, finally commits to knight d5. I'm taking that, definitely. What's he waiting for? Okay, so now I'm thinking, what if I go queen b4 followed by knight b6? Is that not just winning? That should just be winning. Queen b4, knight b6, defending everything. Does c3 work? c3, rook takes b3, c2, rook takes b6. C1 queen, rook takes, queen f1, rook f1. It should work. c3, rook b3. The rook doesn't have a square, so the rook has to take. c3, rook b3, c2. There's rook c1, because the bishop now defends b3. Okay, it doesn't work. I'm going queen b4. Followed by knight b6. And then c3. Once I play knight b6 and the bishop gets chased away from the diagonal, I should have a very clean win. Okay, this seems to be a very clean game. Let's not mess it up. I think he's out of moves. I mean, what does he do? I don't see any way forward. Maybe queen h5, but that's just a trick. And I also have g6, because I still have my h-pawn, even though my f-pawn is pinned. Might be best to give up the bishop. He does play queen h5, that's funny. Okay, so g6. Where does the queen go? I don't know, but I'm playing g6. Maybe he has bishop f7, king f7, queen h7. So let's see. g6, bishop takes f7, king takes f7, queen takes h7, check. King e6 is the only move. He has queen h3 check, queen e4 check, d5 check. That's a lot of checks. Bishop f7, so g6, bishop f7, king f7, queen h7, king e6, queen h3 check, king d6, queen g3 check, king c6. First of all, queen e4 check I don't think works. Because king d6, and those are all the checks. Okay, there's queen f4, and then king c6. Then there might be rook a1. g6, bishop f7, king f7, queen h7, king e6. Oh, maybe I can just go king f8 on queen h7. So bishop f7, king f7, queen h6, king f8. If queen h6, then king e7, and my king's running away. So g6, bishop f7, king f7, queen h7, king f8. Ah, there's queen takes d7. Okay, I'm not dealing with this. I'm just playing rook f8. I don't want to have to deal with this. It seems like too much of a hassle to deal with this. I'm not going g6. I don't want to allow counterplay unless I absolutely have to. Okay. So, if I go knight b6, does he just resign? I think so. Knight b6, the bishop has to move away. If it moves to b7, I go c3. If it moves to e4, I go g6. Yeah, this has to be good enough. Knight b6. Preparing c3, and when I play c3, it's over. Okay, g6, everything's defended. And c3 next move. Okay, I don't have c3 yet. So let's prepare it with rook b8 and then rook c8. I may also be able to go knight a4. Oh, knight a4 is interesting because I have knight c3. Knight a4. Rook b1, knight c3, there's queen f1, pinning my knight to the queen. I'm not happy with that. I'm not playing that. c3, there's still rook b3. The problem with rook b8 is that I still have to play rook. I still have to move the knight, but I'm still going to do it. I'm going rook b8. I have to prepare c3. If d5, I have knight d7, knight c5. Okay. Can I just win a tempo now with knight c8? Knight c8, followed by c3. or knight a4 followed by c3. Knight a4, the rook moves away, I go c3. Knight a4, rook a4, queen a4 doesn't work. Knight a4, rook b1, c3. Knight a4, rook e2, c3. Knight a4, rook d2, I can actually go b2. Okay, I'm playing knight a4. This is good. I don't think there's rook f7 in the position. Now that b3 is defended and I can play c3, his position should collapse. Okay, so c3, I don't know where the rook goes, but I'm playing c3. c2, if bishop takes, then knight takes. Then, sorry, knight c3. Okay, now I'm just winning with knight c3. Okay. I'm just gonna take here with check first. Okay. I'm gonna queen next move. He cannot take my knight. Yeah, let's just make a bunch of queens. Okay. What's the simplest way to checkmate? He cannot take the knight because I have check and queen. Okay. I feel like this should be good enough. Okay. And now, where's the mate? Come on. Yeah. Let's just win the queen or trade queens. I can just go g5 and win the queen. Okay. Oh. He's playing till the bitter end. I like that. I have 3 queens on the board. I've never had 3 queens on the board before. Okay. It's so fun playing with 3 queens. Okay. Okay. Finally, let's analyze the position. So, let's see this bishop g5 idea. He had one blunder. Okay, I had 100% accuracy. Let's go. He had 4 average centipon loss. Okay, I had 8. 12. 1 mistake, 4 inaccuracies. Wait, can you guys see this? Yes. 1 inaccuracy. No! No. Okay. Let's see. Bishop g5. Does this have a name? Okay, dc4 was correct. And then he played e3, which is uncommon. We are going to study a4. We're going to move on to chessbook and study this and then go back. Okay, we moved on to chessbook. We're going to import and study this line with a4, which is the main line. So knight f6 and now bishop g5. It says rare but dangerous, 1 in 158 games. Okay, so d takes c4 and now black usually castles kingside, the pawn on e7 often recaptures the bishop on f6. Okay, let's keep adding the moves. So a4. And now h6 should be the most precise. It was played in 11% of the games, and queen b6 is also okay. So let's go h6, bishop f6, ef6, e4, f5. Wow! People usually go bishop e6. I kind of don't like bishop e6. But let's try it. Bishop e6, d5, cd5, ed5, bishop f5, bishop takes c4. This should be equal. And now bishop b4. Okay, so my advantage is I have the bishop pair and the pawn on d5 is isolated. I like this. Okay, let's do this. Let's import this, save this, and now let's practice the moves. So d4, d5. Let's skip the first practice so that we don't get the arrows. Knight f6 takes, h6 takes, bishop e6 takes, bishop f5, followed by bishop b4. Okay, I like this. Okay, I like this position. I mean, bishop pair and an isolated d-pawn are two small advantages, and I don't think there's enough compensation for white. The engine says equal, which is okay. Okay, so if you guys don't know chessbook yet, I use it to prepare for my tournaments and I use it to learn my openings. It's an absolutely amazing tool. There's a link in the description. You can do pretty much most of the things with the free version, but in the premium version you get an unlimited amount of moves and repertoires you can import. You can then connect your Lichess and chess.com accounts to chessbook and check out the mistakes you make in your own games. It's an amazing tool. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me in the comments. Let's get back to the analysis. Okay, so we looked at a4. Now let's have a look at this e3 idea. b5. The engine says black's better. a4, queen b6, nice. Yeah, bishop takes f6 has to be bad, because now I have bishop b4. A b5 takes. Okay, he was just losing already. Bishop e2, bishop b4, bishop b7, knight a6. That never would have occurred to me. Castles is fine. Still knight a6. Bishop c3 is good. Knight f4. Still knight a6. Rook b1. a5. a6 was better. Okay. Here. Wait, I lost my advantage with rook c8. Wait, let me just move away the variation arrows. So I should have gone rook b8. Why is rook c8 bad? Rook c8 is bad. Ah, bishop g4. Damn. Okay, here. Here. And now I cannot defend the pawn? What if I go bishop a6? White's better? I would have played bishop a6 here. Or maybe bishop c6. Yeah, oh no, bishop c6 is bad. Bishop a6, queen a3, and white's better. Why? I don't get it. What? Ah, threatening knight d5. I have to prevent this. Queen e7. Okay, this is very strange. And then f3 and white is better. Okay, okay, this is... Okay, yeah, b4, takes, b3, just winning. Queen b4. Rook f8, come on! Let's look at g6. g6, bishop f7, king f7, queen h7, king e6. And the engine takes on g6, okay. I was kind of worried about these checks, but yeah, there's nothing there. Okay, I played rook f8, just preventing all counterplay. Knight b6 is correct, g6 is correct. Knight a4 should have been played, but I played rook b8, which is still fine. And now knight a4, yeah. Oh, I could have won a clean piece. I didn't see that, but this is fine. This is fine. And yeah, okay. This we don't have to look at. Mate in 5. I didn't see knight d4. Check. Check. Okay. Oh, finally, I'm very happy with this game. Let's look at the final accuracy. I had 1 in accuracy. That's really good. Yes. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Let's hope the next one is as good as this one. See you soon. Bye.